All right, everyone. We're on to day 13 here, equations of circles. Just as a reminder, this will be our last section in the circle unit. We will not be going on to day 14 and doing the constructions. Okay, so this will be our last day in the circle unit. All right, equations of circles. Let me just go back to Algebra 1 from last year. You guys probably had equations like y equals mx plus b, which was the equation of a line. I'm sure you guys also had, probably remember this one, y equals ax squared plus bx plus c, what that graph looked like, or what it was called if you had a squared term. That was called a parabola. And then maybe, I'm not too sure, but you do something like y equals ab to the x. That was your exponential curves. Remember these bad boys that sloped up like this? Okay, so you guys are exposed to some different equations of different figures. So now what I'm going to show you is what's the equation of a circle. And here it is right here written out for you. X minus h all squared plus y minus k all squared equals r squared. All right, there's two different parts you want to be aware of. The first part is r, which I think we can all guess what that represents. If we're talking about a circle and the letter r, that is the radius length. And let me harp on this point right now, guys. Whatever the radius length is, you need to square that value to plug it into the equation. All right. So whatever number you see here or whatever numbers put in for r squared, that's the radius squared. Okay. And then also we need to be familiar with h and k. HK. That forms an XY coordinate, which represents the center of the circle. Okay, so whatever the numbers plugged in for H and K are, those would be the coordinates for the center of the circle. And X and Y, they're just going to stay X and Y when we write the equation, right? Because if you guys remember, we write an equation in Y equals MX plus B form. Y and X never get plugged in for when I finally write the final equation, all right? It's always something plugged in for M and for B. And the same thing goes with the circle equation. X and Y are going to stay X and Y. Okay, they actually represent points on the circle. All right, so let's get a little practice here, just basic practice before we go honors level. Can you write me the equation of a circle with a center at 3, -3, and a radius of 6? All right, so I've given you everything you guys need for this equation. Okay, so let me get, come on, one job. All right, let me get that equation back up there so we can see it. All right, so let's start. X, now it's minus h, and the h value here is the x coordinate, which is 3. So I'm just going to put minus 3 all squared plus y. Now here's your k value is -3. Now think about this. If I plug in -3 up here for k, you're going to have y minus a -3 turns into plus 3. Okay? So if you just take a look here, we're really just putting in the opposite of what the center is. Okay, whatever the coordinates of the center are, we're plugging in the opposite values for them into the equation. Now equals, I don't want to plug 6 in here because remember, this value I plug in at the end is the radius squared. So actually I'm going to plug 6 squared in, 36. Okay, so there's your first circle equation. And here's the good news. All right, I know you guys see x minus 3 squared and you think you got to pull one of these off to the side. Oh, I hate it when he does this to me. I got to double distribute. No, you do not. You're done, guys. This is the circle equation, what we just wrote there in part A. Okay, there is the circle equation. All right, so one doesn't make you great. Let's keep grinding. The circle is graphed below. What's this equation here? All right, so we need two things before I write the equation, right? We need to know what the center of this graph is. All right, so the center, let's see, you guys can pick it off. Let's see, it's 1, 1, 2, 1, 3. And you also need to know what the radius length is, and I've given you that here. All right, from the center to 3, 3, that's a length of 2. So now hopefully we're ready to write the equation of the circle. So ready? X. Now there's a positive 1, so I'm going to put minus 1 all squared plus y. Now that's a positive 3, so it's going to be minus 3 all squared. And if the radius is 2, I put 2 squared, which is 4. So there's my equation for that graph. Okay, I need the center and I need the radius every single time. All right, final one here for part C. A center. Okay, so they gave me the center perfect and they gave me the radius. Look at that. I don't have to find any of it. I can just plug it in. Let's go. So I can have x minus 0 all squared or plus 0. It wouldn't matter. We'll get back to that in a second. Plus y. Now take a look. There's a negative 2 there, so that's going to change into positive 2 equals. All right, now this is going to be radical 26 all squared. And if you square a radical, you get the number underneath, so it's just going to be 26. And if you forget about that, do it on your calculator, radical 26 all squared. All right, we can, because we're in honors, you can leave it like this. It's 100% correct, but you can also simplify this a little. Take a look at the first parenthesis over to the left, x minus 0 all squared. Well, x minus 0 is just x. So if we can rewrite it as x squared plus y plus 2, and I forgot the squared up there, sorry. Y plus 2 squared equals 26. All right, so anytime you just see an x or a y all by itself, no parentheses or no nothing, that's probably because that coordinate's 0. Okay, so just a heads up on that. All right, so little practice right now, writing the equation of a circle. Hopefully we're getting a little bit more comfortable as we move along in the video here. All right, a little bit different question now. Can you write the equation of the circle with a center? All right, perfect. They gave me a center that passes through the point 1, negative 2. So the only thing I'm looking for now is, hey, what the heck is the radius? All right, so I can do the equation. All right, so here, I just want to give you a little idea what this looks like. Center, negative 3, negative 2. So here's my center. I'll just call it C for center. And 1, negative 2. 1, negative 2. Okay, so the circle, and I'm not going to do this any justice, but the circle goes through that point 1, negative 2. Okay, so we're looking at something like that. All right, as part of the circle going through. So can we find what the radius length is? Remember, the radius comes from the center to a point somewhere on the circle. Yeah, we can find that because we can count, right? So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So the radius is going to be 4. So now I'll be able to write my equation. Here we go. X plus, sorry. Let's try that again. So I got x plus 3 all squared plus y plus 2 all squared. And the radius was 4, so I square that to get 16. All right, so not too bad. Now, real quickly here, guys, because, that was convenient, wasn't it? That the radius was just the length I could count. What would happen if, let me change things up on you, the radius is up here now. Okay, and I needed to find the length of this radius instead. Can't count it. Okay, can't count it, can you? So you would have one of two options. All right, if you needed to find this length right here from C to the yellow point on the circle, you could either use distance formula, or, as we've talked all year long, the alternative to distance formula, Pythag. Okay, so just watch out for that, all right? Because I think that's going to come up and get you when you try the assignment, whenever you try the assignment, all right? So if it's not easy to count the radius, do distance formula or Pythag, okay? All right, moving on. If we were in class graphing a circle, I would have you use a compass, but I'm not going to. All right, so I just want you can freehand it. I hate saying that, but yeah, you can freehand it. All right, so first here, if I'm going to graph what this circle looks like on the graph, I still need two things. I need to know where the center is, and I need to know what the radius length is. So really, all this work we've just done, we're going to hit the reverse now. We're going to hit the reverse button. Okay, because I wrote the equation for you. You guys now need to pull out the center and the radius for me based off the equation. Okay, so center, I got a -2 and a +1 in the equation. So I changed the sign. So the center must have been 2, -1. You guys have a 36 here, but remember, that is your radius squared, not the actual radius. It's the radius squared. So what must have been the radius length to get 36? It must have been 6. Now to graph it, I go over to the graph. I plot the center, 2, -1. And now to plot other points on the circle, I use the radius. The radius is 6. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up 6, to the left 6, down 6, and to the right 6 to plot 4 more points on the circle. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Got it. 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 And usually I'd have you take out your compass, make a beautiful looking circle that you probably wanted to do all year long with your compass. But for now, and this is why we use a compass, I'll let you freehand it. Okay? So there's your circle graphing it. Looks good, right? No issues? All right, kids, here we go. I'm sorry I have to do this to you. This is probably the toughest part of the circle unit. I refuse to skip over it because 1, you've done this last year, and 2, you're going to do it again next year in Algebra 2. Look at the equation I have given you right now. That looks nothing like the circle equation we've been using all day today. Nothing like it. And they're still asking you to graph it, which still means to me you need to find what the center and the radius is, right? Okay, so here's what we're going to have to do. We're going to have to make this equation look like that one. How in the world are we going to do that? All right, we are going to go back to Algebra 1 days. And we are going to do I don't even know what to call it. Procedure, there you go. Doing the procedure called completing, you know the rest, the square. Okay, we are going to complete the square here. All right, to make this circle equation look like our one we've been using all day. All right, so here we go. I know it's been forever. You don't remember a darn thing, but here we go. Slow it down. Let's do this. All right, so the first step in completing the square is 1, to make sure your x's and y's are all together. All right, which they are, and the single number with no variable is on the other side. So you see -8, that's already over there. Okay, if it wasn't, I need to boot it over there. Next thing, organize your x's together, organize your y's together. Here's what I mean. X squared minus 8x plus y squared plus 2y. Group your x squared, your x's and your y's together. Leave that single number off to the other side of the equal sign. All right, now we're going to start completing the square. Here we go. X squared minus 8x. Now, if you remember from last year, you had to add a number to it. Okay, you had to add a number to it. Anybody remember how to find that number you add to it? You took 1/2 your b value and squared it. Okay, so my b value right now, since I'm working with the x's, is -8. So this is what I want you guys to do in your head right now. Everyone take half a -8. Think about it. Take half a -8. Got that number? Square it. Half a -8 and square it. You should have got -4 squared gives you 16. And I'm going to do the same exact thing over here for the y's. But now, what's your b value now? It's 2. So everyone in your head right now, ready? Do it with me. Take a half of 2 and square it. Half of 2 is 1. 1 squared is 1. So that's the number I'm going to add there. Equals -8, but there's a problem. It's unbalanced. What did you guys just do to the left side? You added a 16 and you added a 1. So I have to balance the equation by doing the same on the right side. All right? So that ends up giving me on the right side 9. All right, now what do I do over here? We have one more step to finish completing the square. And that is to factor each piece here. You factor the x's and you factor the y's. Okay? And let me just, I really don't have time for what numbers multiply to 16 and add to -8. All right, I'm going to show you a little trick here. Okay? Because remember, we need it to look like this up here, right? So watch, what was our b value again for the x's? What was our b value again? -8. Take half of it. It was what? -4. So in the first parentheses going to be x minus 4 all squared. And again, if you're wondering where that came from, if you try to factor that, that's x minus 4 times x minus 4. Two numbers that multiply to 16 but add to -8. And how can I rewrite x minus 4 times x minus 4? X minus 4 all squared. So that's where that's coming from. Okay, we don't have the time or energy, I'm sure, to try to factor it and see that. So the quick trick is just take half your b value. Let's do it again for the y's plus, what was half your b value for the y's? Half of 2 was 1, right? So y plus 1 all squared. Boom, look at that. Are you kidding me? That's our circle equation, isn't it? Looks beautiful. So what's our center? Now we're just back to the beginning of the day today. Our center is +4. What's going on? +4, -1. And our radius would be the square root of 9, which would be 3. Okay? And then, I won't take the time right now because I don't want the video to get any longer, but you graph the center, up 3, right 3, down 3, left 3. Graph the circle in. Okay? All right, let's go. One doesn't make you great. That's for darn sure. Last one here, kids. Buckle up. Okay, first thing I need to do, I need to group the x's and y's together and get the single number to the other side, which it is not in this case. So I'm going to take x squared, pair it with 8x, plus y squared, pair it with -14y, and move 40 over by subtracting it. Okay, so we're done there. Okay, complete the square now. X squared plus 8x plus something plus y squared minus 14y plus something equals -40. Go ahead, I'm pausing the video right now. You figure out what to fill in the blanks with. All right, half your b value squared. Go. Okay, hopefully you guys found 16 and 49, but remember, you just made the left side heavier than the right side. So to the right side, I also have to add 16 and 49 to it. Sorry, I'm running out of room there. Okay, next final step to completing the square, factor. So I'm going to let you guys do that. You fill in what should go in here now, including the right side. Remember, the quick trick is instead of doing the whole factoring procedure like here, is just to take half your b value now. Half your b value is what's going to go inside those parentheses. So go. Okay, so hopefully we got x plus 4 all squared plus y minus 7 all squared equals 25. So that would make the center -4, 7, and my radius would be 5. Okay. Before we end the video, quick news flash here. Do not do any graphing on the homework, please. Okay, I am not going to expect you guys to get out graph, paper, or anything like that. So if it says to graph, don't graph, just find the center and radius instead. All right, so no graphing on the homework because we're in a little bit of a sticky situation with that. All right, so no graphing on the homework. Everything else, though, should be fair game. All right, do not give up on this completing the square. All right, you saw it last year and you're going to see it again next year. All right, so just get used to it now. All right, thanks, guys. I'll talk to you later.